here we have the Speedy Bee Adapter 3, which you can see right there. To get the disclaimers out of the way, I was sent this for free. SpeedyBee is not paying me, and SpeedyBee will not be watching this video before it gets published on YouTube. So all of my thoughts are my own, and if I have any opinions, I will share them accordingly. So we have the Adapter 3 here. It comes in the same kind of standard SpeedyBee box. Here's another different product that I'll be going over later. Also in that same SpeedyBee box, which I like their packaging. It's very simple. They've got the little seals down here, just little stickers. So I already opened this up just to make sure I knew what was in here. So let's get into it. Take the lid off. First things, we got a manual card. It has a little QR code. You can scan that with your phone. This will also bring you to the app, which is fairly important for this product specifically. I recommend that you download the app. If you already have a SpeedyBee flight controller, you probably already have the app. Otherwise, it's worth checking out. So here we have the Adapter 3. It's this kind of dandelion yellow color. Fairly simple, pretty small, very easily fits in the palm of your hand. Have a little LCD screen up front, 2 cable ports on the top, a USB-A on the right, a PH 2.0 connector here, and an XT60 here. So let's go over what this does. So first things first, I have a battery here. This is just a RDQ 1300 milliamp hour 4S. Let's take that cap off, and now if we plug this in, you can see it tells me the voltage that is on this battery. And we can double check that against this capacity checker that I have that I just purchased off Amazon that I've been using for a number of years now. So if I plug in my balance lead here, you can see it puts out 15.24 volts. Now, this does let me look at each individual cell, which is a benefit that you get from a kind of distinct capacity checker. This will not let you see each individual cell. This will just read out the total output voltage of the battery. So, fairly handy. Nice that you can just take this small little thing with you rather than this. But there's a lot more to get into about what this does. And before we go any further, let's grab the last thing out of this box. So if we take this container out, we got a little cable. Let's move the boxes out of the way here. So this is a nifty little cable, and I really like the way that they designed this. So this is a USB-C on one end and a micro USB on the other down here. And you can plug the USB-C in on the top and the micro USB right behind it. So you get this little carrier cable thing. I wouldn't necessarily rely on this to like hook it onto your bag or anything, but it's nice that the cable gets stored with it. Now, one of my first concerns was, okay, well, we have a cable looped into something, so if I plug a battery in here, is this gonna short circuit? So let's find out. Yes, I did double check that before I just randomly started plugging things in. It does have voltage protection, so it's not gonna short circuit itself here. This is not getting hot, there's no smoking, there's no shorting out of my battery. So, we'll get into what this cable is useful for in a moment, but first I want to show you what the USB-A cable here does on the side. So I have a USB-A to USB-C cable that I pulled out of my bag. If I plug that into the side, plug my battery in there, and then I grab my phone. I've got the SpeedyBee app open here. We'll get into this shortly. But check this out. If I plug this in, my phone starts charging. And now you can see there's a little red light over here. I can't really tell that it's red, but there's a light on right there, identifying that this is charging. This will act as a fast charger, which is kind of cool. It's So basically this is just converting your LiPo batteries into phone chargers, which I think is a really cool feature. If you forget to charge your phone or you're running low on power in the field, you can charge your phone up just with one of your LiPos. Let's unplug that before we take too much power out of my battery. Alrighty, so the next thing we're gonna look at is what these cables up here are for. So right here I have a small tiny whoop that I like to fly around. It has a micro USB port here on the bottom of its all-in-one board, and I can plug that into my computer, get all the normal Betaflight controls that you would expect. Well, if I'm outside and didn't bring my laptop, or maybe I forgot a cable for it, or whatever, can't connect it to my computer, but I have this with me. Check this out. So if I have the USB-C end plugged in here and the micro USB end plugged into my drone, you'll notice the drone gets power. And the Adapter 3 has a blinking light now, right there. It shows a Bluetooth symbol. Now if I have my phone here, get to focus, awesome. Let's see if I can make that a little easier to see, there we go. If I add a new device, you see it sees the Bluetooth adapter coming out of the Adapter 3. If I hit connect, skip the password, not too worried about that for right now. Now, I'm connected to my drone, entirely Bluetooth. And now if you haven't seen the SpeedyBee app before, I'll get into some of the basics of it first. So the main stage that you get here, the flight controller state overview up at the top. Let's try and get this so where we can actually see it better. There we go. So up here at the flight control state overview, you have gyro, accelerometer showing that both of those are active on the drone, and that Betaflight is reading both. The output screen there shows the current orientation of the drone, which is important to make sure that your drone is reacting accordingly, basically making sure that your gyro is calibrated correctly. Well, if I go down here to expert mode, right there, this is a much more familiar screen if you've used Betaflight. We've got our setup page. We've got our ports page. Configuration. We have every single page in here that you would expect to find in the full Betaflight on the computer. I can even go down to my OSD, and I can change what my OSD looks like all through the phone. And this is all running off of this Bluetooth adapter. Now this can work with Betaflight, EmuFlight, and one other that I will put up on the screen because I'm not remembering what the third one was. I primarily use Betaflight. I can't say I've actually used any other flight program, but it works great with Betaflight, and this will tap into all the same settings. So when you make any modifications in here to your drone, and then put the drone back on the computer, it will have all those same edits that you made. You can change LED strips, you can even change your preset pages. If you have specific presets you're playing around with, you can do all of that right through the app. You can change your VTX tables. You can also access your black box recording. So this is a really cool app that gives you a lot of different options on how you can work with your drone in the field, which I think is super cool. So let's disconnect this for right now. I'm gonna unplug my battery, and just to show that it does work, I have here a PH 2.0 battery single cell nitro nectar. There we go, it's upside down. This is what I normally use to fly this Hummingbird drone here. So let's get this plugged in. It does have markers for, come on camera, work with me here. There we go. It does have markers for positive and negative, which is awesome. Doesn't really matter too much for the PH batteries because they can't go in upside down because of them having this little ridge up on the top right there, and this has that same little marker in there. So you can't plug it in upside down. If I plug that in, you can see it reads 3.9 volts. Drone is turned on, it's getting power, and we've got the Bluetooth signal popping up again. If I go back to the phone, you can see that it is going to connect just fine. So it's cool that they give you that option. Now, if you have the BT, I believe it's the BT 2.0 single cell batteries that have like the little kind of rounded D shape to the plug, you can still use that with this. The only tricky part is it can plug in both directions physically. It's really important to make sure that you know which side is your positive, which side is your negative, and plug it in only positive to positive, negative to negative, because otherwise you will short out your battery and short out the internal circuitries of this. Now, last thing to note, running a single cell battery on this will not allow you to use the phone charger port. That requires, I believe it is 2S and above to use the phone charger. So just to keep that in mind, if you plug it in and it's not working, that would be why. So, well, what if your drone has a USB-C connector and not the micro USB that I'm using right here? Well, easy. You plug this back in here, unplug the USB-C, and now that can plug into your drone. So, that is the SpeedyBee Adapter 3. It's a fairly simple product. It does really 3 things, and I think it does them pretty well. I can't say I really have any complaints. It's got good build quality. It's not too heavy. It doesn't feel cheap. It definitely feels like a solid plastic. It doesn't have any like squish or bend or warp to it. It has a screen protector here on the front cover, on the LCD screen there, so let's just peel that off. There we go. Get rid of that. So yeah, that's about all I got. I will be working on putting together another video shortly on another SpeedyBee product, so you'll have to stick around and keep an eye out for that when that comes out. Alrighty, thank you for watching.